From public to privately owned, from state funded to individually run. We meet entrepreneurs, public officials, and mom and pop shops. Join us behind the scenes for exclusive interviews with determined individuals on their road to success. We are the Mitten Roadshow, and this is Wayland.
Today we're here with Doug over at C. Stoddard & Sons, right here in Wayland, and they are a local oil recycling. They take oil filters. They're just kind of an all one-stop shop. Doug was kind enough to let us go on a little tour of what he does day to day. I mean, you went from building to building to building. It sounds like you're just doing laps all day.
I am. The first building we went to was the maintenance building. That's typically where trucks are parked at night, and because the reason is the pumps on the trucks will drip oil. Okay. And you can't have that oil dripping on a gravel. Okay. Because then that soaks into the ground, and then I get the DEQ, which is my environmental police department here with the state of Michigan, come yelling at me that we're polluting the ground. So we park them inside. There's also some maintenance that goes on if they have to work on the pumps, they have to work on the trucks, but if they have to do brakes or engine work, that's all done off-site. Gotcha. In that building, we have two boilers. One is the liquid boiler that we use to heat up the oil, and the other one is the steam boiler. Steam boiler is used to run some of the heating systems in the plant. Also, I use live steam on tanks that aren't connected to a heat exchanger to keep those tanks hot so any water that's in them don't freeze. Gotcha. Then we walk by the tank farm. The tank farm has capacity of 1.6 million gallons worth of storage. Wow. And there was some work that was being done on one of them. They were repairing the 100,000 gallon tank. So a big one in the front. The big one in the front. Every 5 years we have to do an external inspection of the tanks. Every 20 years, it usually changes based on tank size, but about every 20 years you have to do an internal inspection where they actually go and do a thickness of the walls, the floors, and everything else like that. And it was found that tank, the floor was too thin. Okay. So what we ended up by doing was pouring new concrete base onto it, and they welded a new floor underneath it. 8 inches or something. It was massive. 8 inches worth of concrete underneath it. And then a new floor, new steel floor on top of that, and they were in the process of welding all that together while we were there. The next building we went to, we call that the treatment building. That's the building where the glycol processing unit is, to where that's the distill that will distill the used antifreeze and create new glycol and water. We also have the beige tank, which is the main tank for oil water separation, where the drivers will pick up wastewaters. They will offload in that tank. Oils will come to the top. The waters then get pumped out into a couple other tanks that are shipped off site to a wastewater treatment facility, and then the oils are reprocessed into our system. The next building we went to is our new building, which is the VAC building. that has, you saw a vac truck offloading into a pit.
Yeah.
With that pit, there's a screen on the back end of it where water and thin oil can go through that screen, because the idea is you want to keep the heavy solids forward. The water gets pumped out and then goes into a tank, and then we transport that into that beige tank in the other building. Sooner or later, we're going to have actual tanks in that rest of that building, but we don't have it just yet.
And the water looked kind of white. It was
the water looked white because it was from a latex processing facility. It's actually a transporter that transports a lot of like latex paint or latex glue.
Okay.
And whenever they switch loads, they have to rinse their tank out. So that's why it was white.
Yeah.
Like that. But we get all different type of colors into it.
Yeah.
Then part of that was also an upper pad to where the solids are put on that upper pad. They're allowed, again, to settle where the liquid can come out of it, and that's where then we mix it with the sawdust to create a dry mixture.
Gotcha.
Then that gets put into a roll-off, or actually into a dump box or dump truck, and then the dump truck gets taken to the landfill.
Yeah.
And then the last building is the building we're in right now, which is the oil filter processing building. We have the big hydraulic press that crushes the oil filters.
That's pretty insane.
It's
like a trash dumpster. It just kind of like smashes it.
And the drums are put into the hopper. It gets tipped up. The filters come out, goes down the chute into the mouth of the unit, gets crushed up, comes out cubes the other end.
Like a 2x2 or like a 1x?
They're usually about 6x6, and they weigh roughly about 40 to 50 pounds.
Wow. So it's
what those blocks
There's
weigh.
nothing in there besides solid steel. I mean,
you got solid steel, you got the rubber gaskets, and you also have paper.
Okay.
Because there's usually a paper filter on the inside.
Which all gets burned off. When
that all gets burned off when it goes up to the whatever it's
Eagle
called. No, that goes Calic castings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it all gets burned in the big incinerator that got the cupola.
So they basically take this 6x6 cube, toss it in this big fire, and it burns off, and it makes...
Burns off, melts down, you end up with steel, and then the steel is, repurposed to other auto parts.
Cool.
So... Then back there we also got the storage of the antifreeze. So the antifreeze that when I create the process and create the red, the green, the gold, we store those here until the orders come, and then we ship them out.
Yeah. So when someone says, hey, I want a 275 or a 55 or 5 gallon.
Yeah, hopefully we got it in stock and they get it right away.
Cool.
We got a couple customers that want truckloads at a time, so don't have the storage space to store all that. So we create it later.
Yeah.
As we produce them.
Just keep going up.
Like I said, these drums here, this is what the filters come in. They either come in the drums or they come in, we call them carts.
Yep.
Like I said, they look like garbage cans that you got at home.
Yeah. You're kind of the brains of everything. People says, oh, I know, got to talk to Doug. He knows everything about, how everything happens. So what do you do here?
One of the main things we do is recycle used oil.
Okay.
So we have trucks that go out to quick lubes, dealerships, maintenance shops, anybody that has used oil. We go out and collect that used oil, bring it back to our facility, and reprocess it.
Okay.
One of the things is when they make used oil is, especially like crankcase oil, there's emulsifiers they put in as one of the additives, because when you start your engine, you don't want any water that accumulates to get, that'd be the first thing pulled out into your engine. So you don't want that, so they put emulsifiers in it. Problem is those emulsifiers don't know how much water they're emulsifying. And this time of year in Michigan that it's winter, people change their oil and do other things, quick lubes, they get water and everything that drip into the oil.
Yeah.
Maintenance shop, as they're doing maintenance or doing cleaning, a lot of them have water-based cleaners, that absorbs into that oil. And what we do is we bring the oil in, we test it here when it arrives, we heat it up to about 150 degrees, and then we add, I call it magic dust chemical, de-emulsifiers.
Okay.
Let that mixture sit for at least 24 hours, and the waters will drop out along with some of the solids that are entrapped in it. And then the oil that's left on top, we create what's called a number 4 burner fuel, which is burned industrial boilers.
Okay.
So asphalt industry, before you can make everything ooey gooey tarry, you got to dry out the sand, the rocks, because once they hit that hot tar, if they're wet, then they splatter and do a bunch of bad things.
So it's kind of like throwing ice in a deep fryer.
Yeah, you don't want that type of deal. So you got to dry it all out. So we sell the fuel that dries all that stuff out. That's probably about 30% of our business. At one time, they used to be 100% of what we sold to. And right now, the big push is, again, re-refining. Oil is really good because it's not really the oil that goes bad. It's the additives that collect the dirt and other things in it that create the oil in your engine to be bad.
Okay.
So what a re-refiner does is take the oil that we produce and they take it the next step further. They actually distill it out and create that back to that virgin amber color, because ours is black. We love black. But they create that virgin amber color oil, and then they sell it off to other places. You ever heard of Valvoline Next Gen? Valvoline Next Gen oil, that's what it is. It's re-refined oil. And so they buy it from re-refineries. They add new additive packages to it, and then they sell it out.
So they repurpose it pretty much.
They repurpose it. So that way you're not having to re-distill crude all the time into lubricating oils.
So if I'm just the average Joe Schmo, I don't have a shop, and I change my own oil in my house. Got a little pan, got a little 5-gallon bucket, maybe a gallon bucket. I can bring it down here, right?
You can bring it down here. We have a tank that do-it-yourself oil changers can drop into. We're also on the Department of Environmental Quality, which is Michigan DEQ website. That says we have a collection site. Yeah, you drive it in here, go to the main office. There's a form for you to fill out because we have to keep track of those gallons, and dump it into our tank.
And how much does that cost?
Nothing. It's free service.
It's free service.
And so while you're doing that, you can bring in your oil filters. You can bring in your antifreeze.
All of them.
Because in the industry that we're in, you figure we do everything to deal with cars and stuff. So you do maintenance on a car, you're going to have oil that comes out of it. You're going to change your antifreeze every who knows how long. But you change your antifreeze.
When the light comes on.
Yeah, when the light comes on, when it gets old, when it overheats. So we collect that used antifreeze. We also collect oil filters. Now the used antifreeze, we bring that in. It goes through a distillation unit. We create a 50-50 glycol and water product that I add new additives, new dyes to it, and then we sell that to wholesalers.
So you take a raw antifreeze product and change it into I call it the green, the gold, the red.
Yeah.
And you make it exactly what the green, aka your standard.
Yep.
And then there's the gold, which is?
The gold is a universal.
Okay. And then the red is for more of a?
Red is more heavy duty truck.
Okay. Cool. Sweet. And then the oil filters that you get from your cars, you also take in and you recycle those. You crush them down.
The oil filters get crushed.
Okay.
We have a big unit that's like 2 hydraulic presses. Pushes down, pushes this way against the wall, creates a block. Squeezes all the oil out of it. The oil, of course, goes into our oil reprocessing unit or system. And then the blocks themselves go to a place called Cadillac Castings, which actually melt them down and create other auto parts with them. So they're totally recyclable.
Cams, whatever. I mean, awesome. That's pretty cool. Now, in here, I see that there's barrels, there's stuff like, looks like
totes.
Yard waste containers.
Yep.
These are where you get all of your oil filters. So these are things that you keep on site at oil change places.
Yes.
They'll throw them in there every week or whatever. You come and give them a new tote. You take the old stuff.
Usually there's probably at least 4 drums or 2 or 3 carts at one location.
Okay.
And like I said, once a week, once every 2 weeks, whenever they usually get things like that filled up, because we service all of Lower Peninsula, Michigan. Yep.
Okay.
Driver goes there in one of these box trucks, drops off empties, picks up full.
And I actually, when I came in here, I'm like, I was telling you, I really thought this business was just oil. Take it, and you basically are a hub for shipping it somewhere else. I didn't really realize that all of the recycling and some of the stuff chemically changes right here on site.
Yes.
I mean, you have high-lows and silos, and I mean, you got everything. I mean, there's 5 buildings we're in today. I mean, it's a lot bigger operation than I even thought, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool thing. Like, to take something that's people would call garbage, and you like, oh, I love black oil. Black oil's the best, and it's basically the same stuff except for it's dirty, and you just have to refine it and clean it.
That's right.
I mean, it's pretty cool. And the still you were talking about, that thing is huge. I mean, that's a big deal. I figure if you were like a moonshiner, that'd be like a gold mine of moonshining. Like, that thing is massive.
Moonshine's probably likely to make about 275 gallons in about 8 hours.
I bet.
About what we're doing with that unit, so we're 300 gallons. So.
That's wild. That's wild. So is there anything else you guys do here? You do the shipping, you do the recycling, you take the crush, all the oil filters, you crush them down, recycle them, they get shipped off. The antifreeze, you guys sell, do you guys sell stuff back to the public?
It goes to wholesalers,
okay.
Not to the general public. It more goes to wholesalers.
Okay.
So
if I have a a repair shop, I could buy antifreeze, or I could buy oil from
you can buy antifreeze in a drum if you want it.
250 gallon of it, and just
or 250 gallon. Drum is 55 gallons. Tote is 275 gallons.
Okay, cool. Sweet. And you said you've been here for about 2 years now?
I've been here just about 3 years.
Okay. And then you said your background is not even in this.
No, my bachelor's is in biochemistry.
Okay.
But since I've done environmental work for now over 25 years, I went on and got a master's degree in environmental engineering.
Gotcha. Was that just because, like, you wanted to?
It was just because I always wanted a master's degree.
Okay.
So it just fell into the line of work I was doing.
Yeah.
So like I said, I've been doing environmental work for, I think it's 28 years now. I've been doing environmental work.
And this is a family-run company?
This one is a family-run company, third-generation owners.
Awesome.
Been in business since 1951.
That's wild. That's wild. So what else can you tell us about the business? Is there anything else we should know?
The other thing that we haven't talked about is the vac truck services.
Okay.
The vac truck goes out and does trench drains in shops.
Okay.
Car washes, because you figure everybody who's washing their cars nowadays, you got dirt, grime, everything else that goes down into, it's actually a big vault under the ground.
Okay.
Well, sooner or later, all that dirt builds up, sort of like your septic tank. It has to go somewhere. It doesn't go back out into the sewer system. So they have us come out and we actually suck out those things and we bring it back here.
Okay.
Again, any waters that we can separate off it, we separate the waters out. They go into a wastewater treatment facility. Any oils, we can recover any oils off of the trench drains or anything else that they suck up. And then we end up with the solids.
Okay.
The solids usually get solidified, so that way they're not wet. They have to be dry.
So you put them in with like a sawdust?
We mix them with sawdust.
Okay.
And
then they should just get shipped off to the landfill?
It gets shipped off to, Kent South Landfill or South Kent Landfill. I mix the name up all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
So.
A lot cooler than I thought. A lot more happens here than I even imagined, honestly. So I want to say thanks again for taking the time out of your day. I know it's a Friday, and let's get out of here and have fun.
Yeah.
Don't forget to share this video with your friends and let everyone know this is a local business right here in Wayland. So C. Stoddard, is that what
C. Stoddard and Sons.
So it's third generation company here. So 1, 2, now it's under the third. And don't forget to share this with your friends. Like I said, like us, like them, and subscribe, please.
Perfect.